Testing. One, two, three. Testing. One, two, three. Not getting anything. Anybody? Testing. That's why I try to do these things. You see and hear me fine? You got a 5x5 on me, John? That's really helpful because I'm not seeing that on my microphone here. But my input level is registering here. Gonna try to cut this off on this. Okay, now testing. Oh, maybe it's my iPad. You're saying you're getting me 5x5. I guess I'll turn my iPad off. Figures the thing I used to test. The thing I used to test is failing. Where is everybody? Yeah, well, they hate it when I'm right. I don't know if you guys have noticed. There's been 27 volcanic eruptions within the past 24 hours. 27. Not to mention earthquakes, and not to mention the fact that we've had two CMEs, one radio blackout of our hemisphere, and we don't have to worry about the CME. I think it's just going to be a glance road. Despite what Soho says, I don't think it's going to banner. But yeah, it's amazing how I said that the 3 milliseconds. Can you imagine that the Earth is sped up by 3 milliseconds? Whew. Yeah, that's not gonna. It doesn't affect you and me the way you think it would, but like I said, that energy has to go someplace. And okay, testing. One, two, three. Testing. One, two, three. I got it. Sorry to be so. Oh, all right. Boy, it turns out that the error was not on my computer, it wasn't in my mic, it wasn't in anything here. It was on my iPad. I had to shut it down and reboot it. Is that weird? I'm using that for monitoring it and doing the test, but yet that was the thing that was screwed up. Okay, so we'll start with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, glory, yours now and forever. In your Son, our Savior, our King, our Advocate, Jesus Christ. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brad, you want a bone? Max wants his bone. Okay. Come on. Come on up here. Yes. Come on up here. Say. Bone. Come on. There you go. Let me get this situated. Okay. So, first things first, going to talk a little bit about what's really important, why we're here as Christians, right? We're part of the body. So, what does it mean to be unburdened, to be set free in Christ? What does that mean? Jesus had quite an audience that day. The crowds had just witnessed an intense scene when scribes and Pharisees brought to Jesus a woman who had been caught in the act of adultery. Right? This is from John 8:11. Then they saw Jesus and they asked him, what do we do? The law says we stone her, right? Throw stones. He looked at her and said, with all these men here, are any of you who's without sin going to throw the first stone? Now, the only person who was there that was without sin, who could actually throw the stone, was actually Jesus. Okay, so they dropped their stones and they left. Okay, so then he addressed the woman and he's like, "Is there anybody here to condemn you?" Right? Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more. The woman walked away, forgiven. He forgave her of her sins and saved her from certain doom. A little later, Jesus proclaimed, if you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. That's John 8:31-32. Consider these verses, the Emancipation Proclamation, in verses 34-36. Jesus explains more of what he means. Most assuredly, I say to you, whoever commits sin is a slave of sin, and a slave does not abide in the house forever, but a son abides forever. Therefore, if the Son makes you free, you shall be free indeed. On the surface, it sounds very simple, and it's people really don't understand it as much. But when Jesus goes into your heart and he forgives you of your sins, because he paid for your sins, he paid for your sin debt. And when you're born again, you have such a release. Okay, the devil is the one that tells you whatever you've done in life is you're not worthy. Yes, we're not worthy for our God to love us so much. We're not worthy of all this, but guess what? He's our Father in heaven, and thus he says we are worthy. Okay, and we do our best to honor his sacrifice every single day. Okay, so let's talk about what's going on. Okay, so first of all, the media is now saying that the laptop's real. Well, if I had that laptop, the FBI got a hold of it, I would have been in jail already. Okay, a grand jury would have seen it, heard the testimony, there'd be indictments, and I'd be hauled away. No ifs, ands, or buts. So as we can see, still there is one justice for them and yet another justice for us. The other thing that seems to be incredibly hypocritical, and I know this for a fact because I know people who voted for Biden who are Democrats and who are Jewish. And they just celebrated the Yom Kippur and the whole thing and everything else, and yet they ignore the fact that um, the Democrats almost defeated the support of the Iron Dome and the new THAD system for Israel. Okay, they are hell bent and driven with everything they've given, including the 53 billion to Iran of all that stuff that just went from Afghanistan to Iran, to make sure that Tel Aviv and other cities will become a nuclear vapor. Okay, they'll be poof. And that's what they've done. They've shown this, and I don't understand how any Jewish person could ever vote Democrat ever, because of what I've seen them do in the past 15 years, at least. So if you're a Jew, by the way, all Christians are Jews, and you want to continue to see what's going on over there, keep going on, then keep voting Democrat. The media, they say they're attacking Biden, but no, they're not. That's just a skip full thing. What Biden has done is he's taken 1 million of these people who've come in, and instead he's illegally shipped them all over the country. Now, if you want to be on an airplane, okay, you have to prove that you're a citizen, you have a driver's license, you have valid ID, that you have a vaccine, that you're going to wear a mask. Any test possible, that would be good too. Not for these people. For these people, they can do anything that they want. And if you show up in New York, you get a $15,000 check, courtesy of our ex-governor Cuomo and the state legislature, who voted to have that happen. Right? You want one? Okay, this is your last one, and then you got to leave me alone for a while. Okay, go ahead. It's incredible. Yeah, Tamara, I don't believe in anything anymore. I mean, I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. I believe in a Heavenly Father. I know I've gotten hints, okay? I've gotten hints that the Antichrist is alive and well, and he might be in Brazil, okay? Might be in Brazil. Remember, the Antichrist has to show his mug before the second coming. A lot of stuff has to happen before the second coming. We're definitely in those end days. There's no question about that. We're definitely in really bad times. And unfortunately, I think they're going to get worse. Okay? And I had a question. A person said to me, why aren't they doing any of these things that you talked about? Why aren't... Well, because they believe the big lie. There is celebrities, high and low. Well, mainly high. I'll give you an example. Lady Gaga, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, probably a handful of others who are putting millions of dollars into their fancy bunkers in the so-called safe zones. Yeah, because they think that will save them. It won't. Okay, but they believe the big lie. Okay, the big lie. Satan's going to tell them, "You'll be safe. You don't have to worry about anybody else." Those are the little peons. Now, the other question was, it was asked upon somebody. I forget it was, and it was a late night person, and they basically were like, "Well, yeah, they're talking about Jim Kimmel, and he was saying how terrible it is for the human population and what they're doing, climate change, and everything else and whatnot. Of course, the first question I would ask of any of these people that claim that is what melted the last ice age when it was literally 10 degrees warmer than it is now. Now, does that mean, and I gotta put the caveat on, does that mean I'm for oil and I'm for all this stuff? I'm actually pretty much for natural gas because it's really, we need it. We need all these things right now. But really, I'm for lifters, okay, which is a million times more energy. And it's a million times, it's 98% efficient. The best that fossil fuels will ever be is 50% efficient because of a Carnot. Okay, you can only get out of a reaction like that. You can only yield 50% for work. Okay, that's just the way it works. Solar is at best maybe 27-30% efficient, and there's a tremendous amount of energy that goes into making the silicon panels. The aluminum is extremely energy intense. Glass, silver, other rare earths. Okay, so solar is what I call an energy transfer. It really doesn't make back more energy than it's used to create it, unless you actually deploy it into space. But that's another problem because how are you going to get it up there? Okay, so it costs money to get it up there. That has to be taken into account. And then it degrades in about 25 years. In space, it degrades even faster, maybe 10 years. Well, then what are you going to do? There have been no plans to recycle any of this stuff. Wind generation, if they're made out of simple things like at my Uncle Joe's farm, he had a windmill that he built out of spare roofing, sheet metal roofing and everything else, and he used it to mechanically drive a shaft that pumped water out of the ground that went into a cistern he built that was on a stilts that was above the house, and that was the water. But that, of course, paid for itself very rapidly because it was all spare material that he put together. So there was no, spun carbon and rare earths to build a generator of less weight up top and all this kind of crap. It doesn't work. It's not you have to always do the cost benefit analysis and watts. Okay, now on my boat, I'm refitting her and I'm looking into building a stainless steel solar arch. So I want to put like at least 3 solar panels on it and maybe 1 wind generator. And you're like, what? Yeah, I want that energy transfer. I don't want to have to I only carry 21 gallons of diesel. And in jerry cans, I probably have another 10. But I'm putting a water maker on, and I'd like to be able to produce enough power to make my own water, coffee, things like this. Okay. To which that I want to be able to sail the boat down to the Bahamas, be in the middle of nowhere, and harvest that solar energy so that I'm also building an efficient 12-volt air conditioner system made out of a computer server compressor and things like this. I'll document it. But basically, I think I'll be able to power it if I put 3 500-watt solar panels on this arch and also a wind generator that I either buy or make. I haven't decided which. Now, I want that energy transfer because I don't want to carry gasoline. I mean, I have to carry a certain amount of gasoline from my output, but it doesn't do very well in high heats. I have a special place for it. What I'm saying to you is the gasoline tends to go bad. No matter what you put in it, the stabilizer and everything else, it goes bad. Okay. So So if I'm going to have a generator, which I will have, I'm going to retrofit the generator so it runs off my propane, okay, which I do have. Propane is nice because it doesn't go bad, okay? So then I don't have to worry about the fuel going bad for a generator in case I have like 4 or 5 days of clouds and storms and things like this. This is how I think. I always exhaust every single possibility. It's just what I do. But talking into these real things, Trump was actually, he gave the green light on Flibe Energy. And the second month he took office, nobody talked about it, including himself. That error is on himself. Okay. The second thing was that they were doing trials at Oak Ridge Laboratories. And also, he set up a grant with the graphene research for the room temperature superconductor stuff at both Stanford and also MIT. Again, that should have been talked about. It wasn't enough. And of course, the first thing that Biden did in the first day was cancel all that stuff. And we were this close from getting it, which means you really need to get on to the next level, okay? But the next level of, if you really want to have electric automobiles, if you want to have a change in everything, you need to have room temperature superconductivity, okay? That will give you 100% efficient electrical storage, electrical transmission, electrical motors. I mean, think of it. You'll be able to go to a charging station and actually charge your electric vehicle in 5 minutes. Okay. If you had room temperature, because what you'd have is a supercapacitor. Okay. Moreover, you could build centers down in Florida that could actually get hit by lightning and capture that entire lightning bolt of energy. They are the lightning capital of the world. They'd be producing energy like crazy, no different than what Texas was in the past. And that's how you transition to a new platform of energy, which is the real money, is you make it cheaper, more efficient, more plentiful for everybody. Not this doom, gloom, gruel, okay? No. I am not for oil. I am for petrochemicals right now because we don't have anything with the density that can substitute that's cheaper. Okay. We have lithium batteries, lithium phosphate iron battery. There's not enough lithium in the world to meet those needs. And this country is 3750 across. So no, doesn't mean. And then you're asking 3 times to 4 times more on the demand of our electrical system, where we already are having rotating blackouts in some areas that have gone all green, like Vermont, for example. No, doesn't work. Okay. So there's another agenda to this, just like the masks. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about an N95 mask or respirator or even a full face respirator mask that filters down to 0.2 microns. I'm not talking about that. That mask and that system will actually prevent you from getting COVID-19. Sure. But that's not what people are wearing. They're wearing socks. They're wearing scarves. They're wearing surgical masks. Surgical masks are to stop bacteria from your mouth from getting inside an open patient that you just cut open as a surgeon. Okay, you don't want to sneeze into the person's cavity. You don't want to you don't want to see Peter Pick-a-Papa and spray into the person's body. No. Okay, there's lots of nasties in your mouth. Lots. Okay. No, I'm not a doctor. I'm a scientist, and I do know measurements. I know what a nanometer is. Do you guys know what a nanometer is? A billionth of a meter. Okay, A micron is a millionth. Billion, million. Big difference, okay? So you're wearing a surgical mask that can't stop an 80 micron piece of pollen to stop your hay fever. If it could, wouldn't you think that people who suffer ragweed allergies, hay fever allergies, all kinds of stuff, they would just simply say, go out and buy a surgical mask, put it on when there's really high counts. They don't because they won't, because it won't work. They'll still get sick. They'll still get the allergies. It can't stop 80 let's think about it now. An 80 micron pollen. How's it going to stop a 125 billionths of nanometer virus? Okay, billions, millions, billions. Big difference. Okay. You have screens on your door. Okay. Now in Florida, you have no CMs. Okay, which means your screens have to be down to a 32nd of an inch in order to filter these no CMs. Most screens come in 16th of an inch screens. That's why the no CMs pass through the screens. They stop mosquitoes. So, you guys know what a big chain link fence is? Well, it would be like replacing all the screens in your house with chain link fences to stop mosquitoes. So Dr. Fauci says use two. You're using two chain link fences to stop mosquitoes from going into your body. That's basically the size difference. Is the double layer of chain link fences going to stop the mosquitoes? Answer, no. You're not going to stop the mosquitoes. And the problem I have with these masks is that it's giving these people a false sense of it's going to save me and I'm doing my duty. I'm not going to get it. No, it's wrong. Okay. If you're not in a class 4 lab, CDC class 4 lab protection, which is usually a whole suit that they pump with air. They pump it with air because if there's a leak, it's constantly outgoing, which means the virus can't penetrate in. That's the whole reason why they have it. But then you're going to get it, okay? Unless you have an immune to it, you've gotten it before, or you've had some kind of Navy SEALs injected to you. That's what I had, the FISA thing. But I don't worry about it as much. I don't worry about it here, but other people shouldn't worry about it if you have access to the therapeutics. There's lots of therapeutics to it. What? When I don't wear a mask, I basically want to kill grandma. No, that's absolutely incorrect. If you have the COVID virus and you're wearing a mask, you will kill grandma. If grandma hasn't had a shot or something like that, you'll kill her. There's no way to contain that virus with the mask that we have seen. No. If you're talking a full face shield, a full, PP gear that they wear. I don't know if you've been in a hospital and see them wear this stuff. They put on a full gown, they tape up, they put gloves on, they put a whole double N95 mask on, then a mask on top of that, then a whole goggle thing that's on their eyes, then another shield that comes down. And if you're wearing that, yes, then grandma is safe. But grandma's not going to be safe with just the stupid surgical mask. If you have TB, grandma will be safe with a surgical mask because tuberculosis will be stopped by that mask. But that's a bacteria. Yeah, exactly, girly. Yeah. So if you've ever been to a CDC, my friend, he works at Cold Spring Harbor. Okay, he's one of the top people there. Okay, and he went through the gauntlet with me on this. All right, and you believe what they do to Ebola viruses, any kind of viruses. Ebola virus is huge compared to this COVID-19 virus. Huge. Still can't be stopped with a mask. It's it's still billion. I think COVID thing is like 300, 400. I don't know, 400 nanometer. What I don't know, but it's still nanometers. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, because they tested them. There was a lab. A parent sent it to a lab down in Florida, and it tested positive for Streptococcus novi, which is a and other types of bad bacteria stuff that leads to pneumonia and what is it? Mouth and foot disease, which is basically the bacteria found in poop. Yeah, it's great stuff. They're great, great, great. Yeah, it's great. Not to mention, it's the surgical mask that you're. It's a form of plastic. Yeah, so we won't even talk about the pollution. They weld those attachments and everything with actually sound, ultrasonic sound. That's what they do for welding plastic. So, but China has announced a new swine flu. Yeah, a new swine flu that children are simply because they need to get that fear for the children. That's the big fear. Okay, now um, I don't know what they were working in that Wuhan lab at, but I definitely know that this thing was created there, and it was created in the lab. So my friend told me he saw there's no way if he says a second year med student can see this thing was created in the lab because of the splices that were on it, and there's no question it was gain of function done to it. So, would you fly in an airplane? It depends. I hate airplanes. I hate flying on airplanes. What? That's why I hate flying. I don't mind flying a jet charter or something like that. I've sat in many right seats. I've sat in many right left seats when I had my medical. I mind flying in airlines because of the I feel like I'm a sardine. Okay. So if you're asking me if I will fly to Hawaii wearing a mask for 12 and a half hours, the answer is no. Um, because the mask is worthless and all it does is make me sweat and hypoxic. You're already saying to me, I'm going to be at a flight level of, say, 10,000 feet inside the cockpit, and you're putting something obstructing my air on my face. So, yeah, no, I'm not thrilled about that. Um, the other thing is that people don't realize is that if now I've had the vaccine, okay, so say okay, so I'm gonna get it, but I'm not gonna be hospitalized. It's just gonna be like a bad cold, blah 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 blah. Well, that sucks. I just spent hypothetical. I just spent eight to $9,000 to fly to Hawaii and stay in this big suite, okay, with my wife for 10 days, and I'm sick as a dog. So I'm not going to die, but I'm sick as a dog, and I can't do anything because I'm sick. And yeah, I'm going to be better, but it takes a whole 7 days to run the course of this stupid thing. So by the time I'm feeling better, it's time to go. That's that's just not a good equation to me. Um, I would definitely say that getting COVID now has become more prevalent than ever because even though he was creating with the vaccine and other and just getting it, okay, if you got it, you be and you know, a lot of people got it. My son got it, and he didn't know he had it, so they become immune to it, right? There's a certain herd immunity. Well, over 1 million people have come into this country in the past really 3 months, and might be higher than that. And this lunatic in the White House has been flying them all over the country, including here in New York. I'm seeing him everywhere. So, yeah, welcome to the world where they're not vaccinated. They're spreading that and other third world diseases, yeah, including smallpox. Now, you see, if you're as old as I am, you got this scar, okay? You know what that is? That's a smallpox vaccine, okay? They don't have it. Yeah. And a lot of other diseases are showing up everywhere. Wonderful. Not to mention spending more money and just taking this dollar. The dollar was worth about this a little bit. I think it was 23 cents. $1 was worth 23 cents. This is a quarter. It's 25 cents. Picture this quarter now. If this was a they, I just watching it. They just had an illustration on it. It's less than 8 cents when an oil unwinds. Yeah. Nope, it's not better. We still have the lieutenant mafia. So they have one rule for themselves. They have another rule for us. Where's the Me Too movement? What happened? This guy gonna get away with it? You know, statute runs. Oh, I had talked. Dave was like, they're gonna put Hillary in prison. How many times have I heard that? They're gonna indict Hillary. Boy, did they? No, they didn't do it. Yeah. It's very frustrating for me as well. Okay, it frustrates me. It frustrates you. We were so close to becoming a Type 1 civilization, but uh, nope. Yeah. Well, I can tell you what's going on in the military. What's going on, at least in the Navy, is that anybody, all the military who's white, are being questioned about their white privilege, and anybody who's black is being questioned. Has anything ever offended you? And yeah. So and then there's the whole gender fluidity thing because that's going to make the military more lethal. I mean, it's very important to pack with your airdrop to platoon that or medic, Navy medic that's behind the enemy lines with the Marines to pack in his kit um, the specific hormone dose that he's supposed to give to Sheila. That's important because they might be running out of food, they might be running out of ammo, but man, if they have that thing, at least and the proper pronouns are used. That's important too, because the proper pronouns have to be used if he's working on somebody who's shot, and if he doesn't, even though there's only seconds to save that person's life, oh my God, they might be offended in the last seconds of their life. That would be a shame. That would be terrible. Yeah. Very important for him to have a list, maybe. They're talking about this, really, a list of the proper pronouns to use while addressing this person who's mortally injured. That's important. And yeah. No. I Jim Foreman, I really, 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 really wish we did. I personally believe that we're ancestors of an alien race, like kind of Robinson Crusoe. So, in that case, then maybe yes, if you want to go back to the lineage that way. I mean, technically, we all come from 6 humans. So they found that with the human genome. And interesting enough, we the same. All the dogs come from 6 dogs. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah. Oh no, 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 Sharon, no. No, it's important. It's also important that even subs, which are literally our most important strategic weapon to literally stop the country from getting obliterated, it's very important to cater to a woman who might get pregnant on an extended service, because some of the subs can go out, especially with the COVID thing, they're out for 10 to 18 months. That's a problem if a woman gets pregnant and they have to deliver the thing in a sub. Okay. I'm not saying women do not. I can't be on a sub. I don't. I believe this. Okay, I believe that they could be on a sub or whatever. But if you want to be on a sub, then you're gonna have to forgo some rights, and that means you're gonna have a contraceptive injection where they put a thing into their arm, and it stays there for X amount of months or maybe a year, because then you're putting people I know in danger. The whole idea is that nobody should know what that sub is. Nobody. It's even more than that, Sharon. I mean, I believe that the military should be like Starship Troopers, which means one standard, everybody takes showers together, blah blah blah. No, one standard. Because I believe in lethality. And believe me, I've seen women who are plenty lethal. Okay. My son's classmate, she was on a karate team and later went into a Wizzo, or well, they don't call it that anymore. They call it it's a flight officer. It's not a pilot. Anyway, she was badass. Okay. Big time BAD. I mean, she was awesome. So she got out. But I'm just saying, as far as I'm concerned, she was right up there. And if anything, I think that the different standards, she was really pissed off about it because she saw women that were not making the grade. Quite frankly, my son was aggravated because he saw men not making the grade. Same way, because he knows exactly what our enemies and bullets matter. Okay, and it gets real fast. My son thinks that in a first real big conflict that at least 6 to 10,000, maybe more, are going to die within the first hours, and then heads will roll, and then there'll be a change. And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think there'll be enough time. I don't think we have enough to survive a Pearl Harbor event. We don't have anything in this country anymore. Our skill base is pathetic. It aggravated me because, like, I saw in some, and they blocked it off under Obama. They stopped it. The sea trials and everything else they stopped because me and some other people were filming it, and we were just putting it up. And of course, you saw this woman running with the men, but instead of carrying the load, she just kind of had a hand on it, and she was even struggling keeping her hand up. So it was really five guys doing the work of six. And that's not fair to them. That's not fair. So I have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with women. I have a problem with I don't care. I don't care what you call yourself. Number 23. Do you meet the physical requirements of this specific position? Period. My son will tell you that he's not seeing the grades of men or women, doesn't matter, entities coming up from the ranks and anything that meet the requirement to become a naval aviator. Yeah, down in Pensacola and Whiting Field and the other fields down there, they teach aviators of the world. They teach the Navy, they teach the Coast Guard, they teach the Marines, okay, and even some Air Force people are down there as well. So the reality is that they're not being successful where the students are washing out faster than they're being put up. Yes, everybody wants to be a pilot. Everybody wants. It's so glorious. I want to do it. Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. Not only can you kill yourself, you can kill a lot of other people. Okay, a lot of other people. So you gotta know, and you have to be qualified to be able to do that. And it's easy to say, "Oh, I'm playing this video game simulator." I've flown the simulator myself. I've landed on the carrier and everything else, but I knew I was in a simulator. Okay, I knew it. I wasn't hurling myself at the deck at 150 knots in reality and putting my head through a 4-foot window. No, I'm sitting in this thing. Yeah, I had all this whatever. But I knew that if I screwed up, I wasn't going to become part of the the steel. Like more, I wasn't going to kill everybody else because that's what I was really worried about. But the 11-year cycle, Jim Foreman, he is about the sun. It's actually 11 and a half. It's actually, Jim, if you look at it's actually tied to the orbit of Jupiter. That's really what it's actually running on. And it's picking up. It's going to be at a peak in the next 5.5 years. We had this lull to prepare for it, which was to build a machine, an orbital platform in space that would literally produce these things. We just produce raw material and bring it up there, and then this thing would produce the satellites like a robot machine producing it. They really don't have to be that complicated, and then sit in a Lagrange orbit, L1 orbit, which is between Venus and us. Then they could park there in parallel and at a moment's notice open up and deploy this big mylar umbrella. Okay. And it would be flashed with gold, aluminum, both. So it would be a conductor, and as the CME would be coming, it would deflect it. And so yes, it might be destroyed, but would take at least 90% of that huge CME with it. Okay. That was a brilliant plan. It could have been put into place. I wish Trump got in front of the United Nations. I wish he talked about the threat to the world. I wish he talked about Fukushima. I wish he talked about the asteroids that have our name on it. I wish he talked about a lot of things. I've been over this. And he wasn't the first president to be approached. Nope. Bush was approached. Obama was approached. Actually, Clinton was even approached. Went nowhere. Okay. Not hearing about. Okay, so I'll talk about the volcano in Spain. As I said to you, remember I talked about the Earth is speeding up and nobody's talking about it. The galactic sheet is hitting the Earth, and like a dynamo, because that's what the Earth is. It's a big electric motor. The way it is, it was going to speed up. Okay, and it's over 3 milliseconds. You're like, what? That's not bad. That's not the whole planet. Okay, it's a lot. So normally the planet slows down, speeding up. So that energy is being conducted into the planet and coming outward, and it's gonna. I said it's gonna show itself. It has, in a big way. Now there is a tsunami risk because now the lava is getting to the ocean. So if this thing sets up to where this whole section of it falls off and goes and plunges into the ocean, okay. Yes, it's possible that anywhere between 500 to 1,000 feet wave can be produced to where it'll strike the eastern shore of North and South America. It's possible. I'm not going to say it's not possible. Is it likely? It's not impossible. Is it likely? I'd run it at about 10,000 to 1. Now, does 10,000 to 1 happen? Sure. But that's what I'd rate it at. Will you have time? Oh, yeah, you'll have time. So if it happens, you'll have an hour and a half to get the heck out of Dodge. Okay. Yep. Now, can it happen? Answer, yes. Okay. Can happen. They could also have a tsunami in the Mediterranean too. That is probably 100 to 1 because of Etna. Yeah, that's erupting. You mean the debris? By the time it gets to us, no. But it'll definitely all the volcanism that's going on the planet. It's just gonna do what was already started. The planet's gonna cool. Okay, it's gonna cool down. Okay, so you're gonna see a bad winter this year, and that's various reasons. You have the Australian fires. You had fires off of China. You had fires in the West. You had volcanism. You had all these. All that stuff. It's all crap that's gone up in the sky. It's all blocking the sun. So it's gonna have an effect. Like I said, what caused the last ice? What caused the last 5 ice ages? You know, it wasn't Ford and Toyota. Okay, what it wasn't. The CO2 levels today are, you ready? They're a fraction of what they were when the whole planet was one big ice ball. The planet was frozen to the equator, and the parts per million were 10,000, which means it was 10,000. It's only about 490, 500 parts. Say it's 478, 490 parts per million now. It was 10,000 parts per million, and it was frozen. So they say Venus is a runaway greenhouse. No, Venus is not a runaway greenhouse. Venus is Venus because of where Venus is, and also because of what happened at Venus, and also because of the fact that it doesn't have oceans. Okay, we have oceans. We have other things. We have other things that need carbon. We have life that needs carbon. We have a lot of life that needs carbon. We have plankton that needs carbon. We have all the sea life needs carbon. You need carbon. Plants need carbon. Every single plant you see, apple, it's all based on carbon. It needs to have a certain amount of carbon. Plants, if you look at plants today compared to the day of the dinosaurs, plants today are starving for carbon. Most greenhouses increase the CO2 concentration by 20 to 30% to make their plants grow faster and healthier. It also inhibits some other types of diseases. Mammoth. I did a whole greenhouse show on this. I talked about just even 14,000 years ago, there was 4.5 billion just in North America's continent of grass eaters of one type of eater: rabbits, deer, buffalo, goats. Okay. Okay. All farting. The greatest producer of methane, by the way, is termites. And the greatest producer of methane in the world is in the peat moss of the Carolinas, Georgia, Russia's tundra, Canada's tundra. Yeah, there's a specific type of bacteria that's in that takes the decaying material and turns it into methane. That's where your natural gas comes from. Science. By the way, natural gas is measured in parts per billion. Yeah, it's 11 to 1. But again, these people don't seem to understand the difference between billion and million. So it's pretty funny how that happens. Isn't it funny? They don't understand science. I have to carry it there. That's it. 3 and 3 and 3. Oh, oh yeah. Another 3. You want to know how insanity it is? This lunatic in the White House, or the people puppets controlling him, has spent 8 trillion with a T, trillion dollars in the past 9 months, and they're arguing about spending another 4. Really, it's 4. Okay, they're going to turn your funny money into your monopoly money. That's in your monopoly set. It's going to be worth more than your actual dollar, which is what they really want. Okay, they want this. They want to bankrupt the country. Hey, Max, you want a bone? Insult the lunatic. Well, I don't think he's doing it. I mean, have you looked at him? I mean, it's he's almost like one of the, what was that show? Captain Scarlet. I think it was Captain Scarlet or something. You know, where they had the marionettes with the strings, you could see them. I used to love that show when I was a kid. Captain Scarlet. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, I almost saw those strings on Biden on this conference. he, you know, him, it must almost. Hey, Max. Max, come. Anyway, he was sleeping. Sometimes he gets, you got in a coma. You're hot. Yeah, they're working on the air conditioning, huh? Anyway, yeah. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what I've been enjoying on TV, and I don't enjoy a lot of stuff on TV, but I do enjoy this because I have a few friends who work actually for Disney, not the Disney, the studios and stuff, right? The artistic side. Um, I really appreciate the hard work and talent. Like I had friends of mine who used to work on Game of Thrones, so I really appreciate that that kind of dedication to perfectionism for something that's only going to be on the screen for maybe 13 seconds, and they spend an entire 3 days shooting it. I love that. I really love that. So a show that's like that is The Mandalorian. Incredible production and incredible work. Just because I know what's involved, and the story writing is a classic three-story kind of thing to each episode, so it's pretty good. It's very good. My wife and I have been enjoying it. I can see that they're gonna make a fortune with all these stupid toys. Oh my god, yeah. My boys are young. They had to have all the stuff, right, Max? No, I gave you one. Now you want another one? You just had one. I just gave you one. What's going on? You go lie down, and I'll give you come back in 30 minutes. Can you do that? Yeah, come back in 30 minutes. Alter ego. Yeah, I very rarely watch broadcast TV. My wife can't stand the commercials, so I don't really watch much of broadcast TV. I watch everything streamed. I have my Apple TV, so I just put it on and it does it. It's great. And yep, the Gmail was down 2 days this week. So if you're having a if you're having a problem with your Gmail account, it's not you. It's because of the wonderfulness of our president has such strength to the world that every single hacker and every single hacker for any government is now hacking everything because there's literally nothing to stop them from hacking, and there's no penalty to stop them from hacking. And if you try to stop them from hacking, you're actually committing a crime. So you can't stop them from hacking. I mean, I'll be frank, and I hope I won't offend you people. So where did what it was like with Trump was that you had like the castle doctrine. Somebody broke into your system or whatever. He breaks into your house, you can shoot him. Okay, even if you didn't know that they had a weapon, but the thing is, you can't wait that long because you could be dead. So, and the way I do it in my house to justify because I am a Christian, so I didn't care if somebody broke into my house. I'd say steal a set. It's all insured stuff. But if you open that bedroom door, I'm upstairs. I have a 12 gauge shotgun. Besides that, and I would say I called the police. They're on their way. Get out, and I have a gun. Don't open the door. Okay. So, and if I saw the doorknob turn and it would start, the door start. That's it. Boom. Okay. Sorry. It's not like I didn't say anything, but I didn't go hunting for them. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, to get back to the law the way they have it now, okay? You gotta say breaking into your computers, like say, well, picture a safe. So you have this safe with all your valuables in it downstairs in your basement, right? But just go with me here. And you're not only supposed to allow them to come into your basement, but you're supposed to set up a cot and a bed with a pillow, fluffy pillow, maybe a teddy bear. That's important too. And give them cookies while they're trying to pick the combination of your lock into all your personal belongings. Further, what Biden has recently done, and with the if the HO1 thing passes, you have to send and spend for cable and maybe set up a refrigerator and literally have the person living here full time while they're trying to break into your shit. Excuse my language. So that's how bad it is. So yeah. So if you're watching me on this, please, please, please get a VPN. Very important. One that you have to pay for, not for free. Okay. Free ones are worthless. You got to pay for it. Nothing's going to come of it. Jim Foreman, everybody on this, I am as disappointed as you are. Okay. And as you understand what's really happened, and guess what? There it is. It saddens me. It makes me angry. Um, I know that I've talked to a lot of people that they're like I don't care. I'm not going to go through the trouble. No, go through the trouble. Get noticed more than ever on the second term elections, on the midterms. Please go down and vote as hard as you can. Make yourself known. Go through all the things. Talk to people. Everything else. Which VPN is the best? Hmm. Well, I use VPN as well, but I use one that I made myself from servers that I control. So I would say one that might offer you the best features and is compatible to the system you're running. So some of the big ones, I won't say them here because I'm not sponsored by them. Yeah, I know. But I don't want that to happen. I want you guys to vote, even though we all know that. Like, I live in New York. I had a Republican guy call me today. I'm like, I know what the truth is. I saw what happened in my own precinct, in my own thing, even in the last school thing and whatever. The fix is in. I don't know what they're doing with those, with my scanned vote. But I can tell you right now, they're not scanning them right or whatever. Just like California. You got to tell me that 60% of the people, 61% of people voted for Newsom. So so those people are happy with the state of California. They're happy with the water shortages. They're happy with the power shortages. They're happy with all the needles everywhere. They're happy with all the homeless everywhere. They're happy with all the budget deficits. They're happy with all the legal aliens around all over the place. They're happy, happy, happy. You gonna tell me that? Come on. You guys know that's not true, but it doesn't matter because that's what they say. Oh, that's what happened. Do you think they passed the New York Safe Act, okay, in New York State 7 years ago? Gun crime is worse today than it was ever in this state. Ever. More laws than ever to restrict guns from people like me, but more criminals have them than anything, and they're just letting these people out with no bail. That makes sense. Yeah. 23 angels flight says, "Are we awake yet?" Yeah. All the plans have been nullified. Everything Trump had done in his 4 years, which were incredible, have all been undone. They've been all undone and then some. I mean, immigration has been put on steroids to where you literally have as many people in here in the past 9 months as any population of any top 8 cities in this country. Okay. Uh, it's incredible. You're talking more people than in the state of Delaware. You're talking more people than the city of San Diego. I mean, that's serious. Okay. So yeah. And then the money. I mean, what do you think it's going to do to the economy where you see 90% of all businesses closed in New York, on Long Island? I mean, everywhere. And yet they're handing out money to these. If you're an illegal citizen, you got a check for $15,000. Have a nice day. Can I get that check? No, I have to pay for it. They're raising my taxes to pay for it. I mean, it's just nuts. Voter ID. Yeah, voter ID. Why do you think the Democrats are going to naturalize and set up a path to citizenship for these 10 million? I'm telling you, by the end of this year, it'll be 10 million people have been gotten in here. And he will set up a path to make sure that they can vote. That the 50 million people that are in this country, not illegally, they'll be able to vote. What do you think they're going to vote? You think they're going to vote Republican? Really? No. They're going to vote where their mouth is fed. They're not educated. They're from a third world toilet. They they're totally out of place. Do I blame these people for being here? I don't blame them for wanting to see a better life. However, I mean, they have absolutely no respect for lawns. I'm proof of this. I was in the hospital. I was taking a piss in the hallway. I have insurance. I spent a fortune on it. And these undocumented people are in a separate room inside the emergency room. And they get up in front of the face of the doctors. And they're getting preferential treatment as far as I'm concerned. And here I am. I have to pee in a hallway. Is that fair? Second time I've seen it. Yep. We lost the republic. And people hate me for, oh, Bob, I'm telling you the truth. Have you had enough yet? I have had enough. What are you going to do about it? Am I talking about violence? No. Violence is not going to work. But what does work is money. Okay? What does work is not supporting products, not supporting companies, boycotting everything that is wanting for this to happen. Don't buy that. No, yeah, I was Sharon. Okay, first rule number one. Okay, if you read the Bible, okay, the rapture doesn't happen to the second coming of our Lord and Savior. We have to endure the Antichrist. Gotta endure that. Gotta endure a lot of stuff. Gotta endure that bull crap and everything else. Yeah, it's it's not gonna be good, right? Yes. Come on, show the people your pretty face. You're my pretty dog. Handsome. That's the last one, dog. I don't have any more after that. Believe me, I have two grandsons. Thank God that with a father who is one heck of a man. But unfortunately, he is now in mortal danger more than ever because if the crap hits the fan, he's going to be put first into harm's way. And this idiot basically made his job 1,000, no, 10,000 times more dangerous. I mean, it's going to be over the horizon thing. How'd that work out? Okay. And the one platform that we had, that was over the Japanese, I mean, over the Chinese and over the Russians. Of course, what did they do? It canceled it. Yeah. Canceled it. Oh, that's canceled. Yeah, basically, the only hope I have is I know that there's a lot of other Americans in the military like my son. Unfortunately, there's commanders, a lot of them are, and we're talking 06s, 07s, 08s that are just like Millie. And 10 years of Obama Biden basically did this. So anybody who can get out that's a decent officer, they're getting out. They're running. Hey, Max. You have such a pensive look on your face. You're pensive. Are you pensive? Um, well, our military people are not, they don't have freedom. They have to do what they're ordered to do. Otherwise, they end up in jail. Max is more than any regular dog. Okay, he's a. I hope you can see this. Come on, Peter. I show these people your service medallion. Yeah, yeah. I'll take your guy over. He's gonna freak out. He freaks out every time I do this. See it? His service thing. He freaks. You freak out. He really he knows. It's like he knows that he earned it because he went through all the tests and he worked his butt off on those tests. It's like he wears it as a badge of honor. You wear it as a badge of honor. You do. He does. Right, Max? Max wears it like a badge. Yes. I know you do. Anyway, he goes with me everywhere now because he's the only one that can get me off the ground. Right, Max? Oh, yes. Yes. You're a star of the show, Max. Look at that dog. Anyway, any questions for Max? Oh, it's a lot more than that, dear. Those are the people are in God's hands right now. There was over 203, both Afghanis and Americans, that were hurt in the explosion, injured. You don't want to talk about that. Nobody lives. He does me very good. Right, Max? You have a lot of fun. You used to see when my wife just baked a garlic chicken. She has this recipe. She makes garlic chicken. Oh, it's really good. Anyway, she she's boning it, and she's in the kitchen doing it. He just sits there so politely, straight up, and as he's yes, OEN does tell the truth, and as she's taking apart, she literally doesn't even look. She just throws the piece, and all you hear is this air chop. Can I make him bark? I can make him howl. I can't make him bark. I didn't teach him for bark. I taught him for howling. He'll howl, make noise. If I fall down and he can't get to me or something like that, then he goes and he makes noise, howling. Woo! What hell? Howling! Woo! Come on, howling! Woo! Come on, howling! Come on, howl! Woo! 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 Come on, howling! Woo! Howling! Howling! Woo! Woo! Good boy. You did it. It's loud. It's loud. Right, Max? Is it loud? They can hear him Timbuktu. Anyway. Someday I'll set up my camera and I'll show you how he gets me off the ground. It's pretty neat to see that. It's a very, very strong dog. He puts everything into it. He loves doing it too. So it's amazing how he loves to do it. It's like a thing. He loves it. Well, that's one aspect of the genome that all dogs get from the wolves is howling. They get that. They get other things such as the canine and other type of stuff. Yeah. So, but I have a video of him just howling to himself on the TV. So, and that's a distance. You should hear him. I mean, my mic is here, so that's you can just imagine how loud that is. It's loud, very loud. Anyway, there are any questions because it is Open Chat Friday. Any more questions? Laptop. Jim Foreman. I don't know what that means. Most of my work I do on laptops. I'm not gonna kid you. Are you grilling anything? It's been raining. It's been raining like every single day, and the stuff. I have a brisket. I had to freeze it. I have ribs. I had to freeze. Everything I had to freeze because it's been. I can't like brisket. I wanted to do the brisket, but I'd have to put it in literally Friday about 11:30 at night, and then it'll be done Saturday night. So, have to have people for that. Had to discern when CGI is used. Well, I'll give you an example. CGI is pretty good. You're talking about when they imitate people. Uh, yeah, I have it. They won't say and like I do. You'll see them do more fluid conversation because it'll be something that's typed in, and nobody's going to type in an and ah. Another series of that is if you know what the BDOs are, okay. Like for example, and the military stuff that the trailers for Top Gun. They say that there's not CG. It has to be because you can't. They picture two F-18s flying like this, and then Tom Cruise comes right between them, and that would violate all kinds of safety standards. Like, forget about it. He'd be grounded. My father lost. He was a lieutenant commander. He lost his rank to lieutenant because he went underneath um, um, bridges with his people following him. He was doing a follow leader kind of thing, but actually he was doing it on purpose because he knew that the only way that they would survive in Nam was to learn how to fly that low and to do it without people shooting at you is very important considering that you're trying to do it for real and people shooting at you. So I had actual gun footage of my father, and you could see he was so low that he had to go up to to shoot a train. But you could see all the flak and shots and everything just above him, and he was literally feet off the ground. So, but he made it back, you know. And I saw a Blue Angel on practice at Annapolis. There was a flock of birds that took off, and instead of hitting the bird, the guy went underneath the bridge that goes over the Severn River, which is unbelievable. Okay. And I know that that wasn't part of the procedure. It wasn't part of the routine at all, but it was unbelievable. And I saw why, because if he went where he was supposed to go, he would have hit the birds. He would have. And whatever you think, you have to realize Canadian geese hitting them over 200 knots is not fun. Okay. I've hit birds and it's not fun. It's very bad. No, I'm sure that his CO cover. First of all, they get a special waiver. The FAA give them a specific air show performance waiver, and then they have things like that they can do if there's something encountered, anything entering the airspace, and wildlife will be considered that, as well as other types of mechanical problems, wind, weather. Yeah, they the Blue Angels have lost more pilots to. They do a really. If you've ever seen the Blue Angel program, it's incredible. It really is. They don't wear G suits. They just wear their flight suits because they don't want the G suit pumping up and literally affecting the stick. They because their wingtips are 18 inches apart at times. I'm not kidding. It's just insane. So really incredible flying. I mean, incredible. Yeah, and if you don't think it's dangerous, and the sacrifice those men make is amazing, and men and women. I've had women, but you have to be um, really good and really it's really a sacrifice. Some people don't take it because of the what they have to do, and the really imposition is they don't see their families for like 2 years. Some of them, the families go with them, but it's very hard on the families, and it's extremely uh, it's dangerous. They all Navy aviators are flying. You have to understand naval aviation, all of it. They all anything you name it, they're flying an experimental aircraft, whether it's a helicopter, whether it's a jet, whatever it is. They're flying an experimental aircraft. So it's designed to perform and execute a specific military threat or defense mission. Okay. And that's what it's designed to do. Safety is not high on the list. Okay. So that's basically what it is. So you're talking about extremely disciplined, professional men and women, extremely dedicated. I'll give you an example. My son on his last deployment, he mainly flew um, early morning, but in order to take off at dawn, he had to get up at 12, and then he had to get what's known as called midrats, and then he had to go through a prep and talk, and then he had to be on the flight deck a good hour before, um, going over with the plane captain. You have no idea because they have to load up the special armament. Everything has to be. There's so much. If you're on my Patreon page, I've put in a couple of videos to which show you the pre to start up to the and that's after the flight briefing and everything else, to then even taxi and shut down and then debrief. So it's a full day. They literally take pills to keep them awake. They wear a diaper. They don't tell you it is. They wear a diaper. They have, for the men, they have, and well, I guess the women too. But they have pedo special piss tubes that they can urinate through and everything else. And it's all day and all day. So they'll take off, fly to specific, rendezvous with a tanker, fuel up with a tanker, rendezvous around more, go back up to a tanker, rendezvous. They'll refuel maybe 4, 5, 6 times, and then they'll come off that. Then they'll go back to the ship, and then they have to land. And then if they miss the landing, if there's some kind of thing going on or whatever, they can get some fuel. It's so, and even for the first thing that has to even be launched is the Sierras. Those are the 2 helicopters they launch for flight recovery in case there's something else, some kind of failure with equipment. It's a whole big thing. There's so many people that move. It's amazing. And the Blues are taken from the fleet, and and they're really there to show, most of them, but there's been a few ROTC, but most of them come from the academy. So when they do the academy flyover and they do the academy shows, it's nostalgic for them too, because I met them when they came to the academy. They come on after they do their practice run. They come to the academy and they introduce themselves, and you get to talk to them, stuff like that. They're extremely intelligent, very down to earth, professional, really professional people. Incredible. So, and everybody associated, the mechanics with the Blue Angel team, best mechanics ever. Everything is perfect, and they really pride themselves on that perfection. And they know they never get it, but they try to do it. It's amazing. Yep, there's female Blue Angels. The one I met in 2010 was a Marine. So, but yeah, and I think she was part of the Fat Albert team, but she was flying the Fat Albert. But I think there's been other female um, actual F-18 pilots. They just switched to the E of the Foxtrot. I think they switched to the Echo F-18s. They got rid of the C's. They went to the Echo. So saw them practicing last time I was down there, which was interesting. I got some pretty good footage. It's ridiculous how loud those stupid things are, though. The F-35C is insanely loud. I mean, you can definitely hit a difference. That thing loosens your fillings if you're within a half a mile of it. It's just unbelievable loud. Ooh. I mean, I thought the F-18s were bad. The F-35C, that thing is so loud. Never seen a B-2. I've seen pictures, but I've seen. I actually had something to do with the MEPS on that plane, and also on the B-1. Designed them. Excuse me for a minute. C-130, yeah, that's Fat Albert. And they do a JATO takeoff. It's amazing. It's unbelievable when they do it. It's just incredible. They do it. It's part of the show. Amazing. It's amazing. The thing goes up like that. Yeah. So I think they have been female. I know I met female F-18 pilots down in Pensacola. I also met them at Annapolis, but I think there's some that went on to the actual F-18s. I mean to the Blues. I don't know but if she was a Marine or not. That's the thing, because they do take Marines too. So Navy or Marine on the Blue Angels, just like the SEALs. The SEALs take Marines as well. Any other questions? So Biden, I posted this on my Patreon page. Biden is actually literally going out there to destroy our Navy. There's no question about it. He's doing everything he can to destroy our Navy, destroy the morale, destroy the everything, to get people to not to join. Recruitment's down, morale is down. I only know the Navy. I'm sure it's that way in all the services, but he's doing everything he can. It's like he's literally working for the Chinese. As far as I can with Afghanistan and everything else that he's done, there's no ifs and buts. That's treason, absolute treason. You violated your oath of office. Jill slapped him again. 23 Angels. Drill. I did not see this. Okay. Did she do it to wake him up? I mean, if Trump did one ten thousandths of anything that this guy did, I mean, the media would be on it 24/7, and it would be just like nuts. And the fact that they just cover it up and ignore it to now that they just lie. Now they even lie about their lies. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We all know that they were lying about the laptop. Now the laptop is real, and there's no doubt about it. But yeah, so what? Oh, it's worse than that. They're basically chastising the people who actually do good and have done well, because if you're white, well, that's the reason. So wasn't because like my son wanted to be an astronaut. Okay, and he wouldn't go out Friday night. If he had a test the next week, he wouldn't go out. Sometimes I had to throw him out of the house. I'm not kidding. Um, because I said, Bob, you're never gonna get these years. Get out. Okay, get out. He had in the end, he had a 4.2 grade point average, was 4.19. Anyway, because he started taking college classes literally in 8th grade. He was a 4 letterman. He won the Marine Athletic Award for the state of New York. He was then when he entered the academy, he won the NCAA #1 karate championship. He was on the Navy Olympic pistol team. I mean, and one of the top 26 physics students in the Navy and the academy. And he had his own access to the weapons lab because he was designing the capacitors for all the EM stuff that you now see working from his experience working at BOCES since he was 13. That's basically where they have the RIC. Okay, the RIC accelerator. So he was working with high energy physics since he was really 11 when he built his Tesla coil. He driven. He wanted to be an astronaut, you know, and he did everything he could. So he graduates in the high school, literally valedictorian, but they wouldn't have it because it wasn't politically correct. So they just had the top students gathering. If they're all good, all winners. Kind of made him infuriated as the other ones too. But his big thing was that he had that letter from the academy and he had that stuff, and so that's then he graduated in the top of his class there and was one of only 14 out of 1,419 students to get picked, selected, qualified for flight training. Out of those 14, only 6 made it further. Only 2 went into jets. Anyway, I digress. Years later, now he's a test pilot school graduate, right? And he's applying to become a test pilot school instructor, which unfortunately, because he's white, he's going to be discriminated against for that position, even though he's probably one of the top 100 aviators they got, because he's white. And I say to you, that's just as wrong as being a black man in 1965, which was just as wrong. Judging anybody by the color of their skin is wrong, period. You should always judge people by the content of their character and what they do, period. Um, so my boys now are being both, I would say, openly and have been discriminated against, no ifs, ands, or buts, because they're white. I've seen it in their years of from high school up. And it wasn't right in the 60s that I saw that too. And I saw that in a big way. It was terrible. My father went out of his way to point out how terrible it was. And it's just as bad now. So I'll say this. I'll be frank, and I'll say this: every single human being on this planet, no matter what color creed you are, no matter what you are, there's people that are going to be asswipes out of every single iteration there is, and there's people are going to be stand-up great people. And I believe most of the people on this planet are stand-up great people, and they've been misled by some 1% who really think that they matter and nothing else matters. And they will do everything they can to separate, conquer, divide us, and have us fight amongst ourselves so that they can go off and have do as I say, but don't do as I do moment, which they do all the time. And that should give it away right there. If you're not with, there's an actor, Egg Beagley or B, I think I'm mispronouncing his name. I'm really sorry about that. But he really believes in global warming, so he did everything he could. Solar powered, car electric, all before it became popular. He was doing all this stuff, recycling his trash, everything, the works. And I don't have a problem with that person because he's not living a life that's not supporting what he's preaching. Okay, he's wrong in the fact. Now, is he right that oil pollutes? Absolutely. But let's check out something, okay? I knew this from the start. So what did I do? I went out, I bought a sailboat, okay? I went out, I got a diesel engine on my car. And the diesel 7.3 Palooza. Really? Oh, not on my car, but does it put out particulates if you stamp on the throttle and don't let the turbo speed up enough to where that you're putting enough air into the engine for combustion so that the black smoke comes out? Sure, it will do that. If I did that, that's money out of my pocket. Okay, is that carbon harmful? Well, I guess technically, but it's carbon particulates, no different than the toner in a copy machine. Okay, now what does a diesel that doesn't put out any black smoke do? Well, they have a carbon particulate filter. It's a CPF. What does it do? Well, every now and then, when it becomes full, it goes into regen. What does regen do, Bob? I'm going to explain to you. What regen does, it has a separate igniter and separate fuel system that shoves in urea, which is cow piss, and more fuel, and then burns these particulates at high temperatures, puts them out of the exhaust so it's clear. But that carbon is still being put out. If anything, it's even more harmful because it's coming out of the exhaust as CO2, and it burns 3 times more fuel as a platform to do it. When I drove my van with my car trailer and all my son's stuff, I figure just in my car trailer, which is 25 foot long, he put in about 10,000, 11,000 worth of stuff, plus another maybe 2,500 to 3,000 pounds of stuff in my van. I'm going down the road. I'm a good 22, 23,000 pounds. I got 17 miles to the gallon. Yeah. Yeah, at 60 miles an hour. That's what you have to deal with. That it says don't go over. I didn't. I just set my good 60 miles an hour. I got 17 miles to the gallon. Incredible mileage I got. My friend has a brand new truck, has the 6.7 turbo diesel in his thing. At best, when he's towing the same load, oh, it's got horsepower to burn, all that kind of stuff. Maybe he's got 300 horsepower more than I do. I have 500 horsepower. He's got like 800. More, another 300 pounds worth of torque. It doesn't matter. Okay. I'm still limited to 12.5. He's limited to 12.5. Point is, you ready for this? He was pulling the same load and he got less than 9. So he's burning twice the fuel, putting out, going through twice the amount of fuel. I say it's 3 times the fuel. Okay. So how is he bettering the environment if he's consuming 3 times the fuel? But yet, so called when he's on the test block, because it's catching all those particulates that it's going to burn later, is air it's coming out of it's cleaner. See, if you do the science and look at it, you'll see that it's all malarkey. It's all BS. It's all expensive. And what it does is it prevent. It's very expensive, and it's $9,500 worth of crap on his exhaust, and it overheats the engine and makes the engine run terrible. See, so, and it's all because they really want your energy to cost more money because they collect more money on it. You're going to see this whole carbon tax come in, and they're going to get a slice of it, a vig. Doesn't stop from Leonardo DiCaprio and all these other people complaining about it, flying their jets. One flight of their private jet puts out more CO2 than you do in 10 years. So, yeah, it's, again, don't do as I say, do as I do. I told you to wear a mask. Wear a mask. I'm gonna party without one because it's the first time I heard it, and I have an excuse because I'm special. Yeah, I've. When you see them do that, it tells you exactly where they are, exactly where and what they are. Okay, if they really believed in what they were saying, then they would not be doing any movies, which waste more energy than anything on the planet. They would not be flying around to any events, which waste a ton of energy. They wouldn't be doing any of this stuff. Okay. But they do, which means they're doing it for a whole nother reason. At that, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you, I have a very, very, oh, yeah, they're talking about taxing. Yeah, but you, who built the roads? I'm a Long Islander. I know exactly who built the roads. Believe it or not, there were no roads here on our island until a billionaire built them. And the reason why the billionaire built them is because he wanted to drive really fast. So Vanderbilt built the roads on this island because he wanted to drive his cars really fast from one house on the North Shore to another house on the South Shore. And that is the truth. You're going to Vanderbilt Museum, you'll see all of his race cars. So, yeah. And why did he get so rich? Why did no income taxes? Anyway, any more questions? We have basically 4 minutes. 4 minutes before I sign off for the weekend. Please share this. Please. Well, Kennedy, the Kennedys were also blue bloods, but Jack didn't listen to his father. Okay. You think his father wanted him to become a PT boat captain and basically skipper a piece of plywood into a destroyer? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I had my second shots in my knees. They feel really good, really, really good. It's the corn, the the comb of the rooster gel they put in your knee. Feel lasts for about 3 to 4 years. Feels great, by the way. And I'm signed up in a lot of gyms and a pool, and I've been walk. I was up to 4 miles a day with the dog, and he appreciates it. He likes it, and married to a beautiful wife. Have two beautiful grandsons. Have two beautiful, handsome sons. So I have nothing to complain about, including all this insanity that's going on, which is just the way it is. It could be. I still think that the vision of one person, if it's shared and made known, I think that we could all work together and do this despite these idiots. I think if good ideas get out, they can get traction and a movement can start. So share this video. Share other my videos. Go to my Odyssey channel where I have stuff posted there that you guys I'm not getting any views, and yet it's telling you the truth about everything, really everything. Yeah, me on it. Can you imagine? No censor on the mouth. Wow. So check out my Odyssey page. Want you guys to have a safe weekend. Be careful out there. Nope. Nothing could test my faith. I mean, I had a stroke. I woke up. God sent me back here, and I had my whole half of my body paralyzed, where I couldn't talk, couldn't do anything, couldn't move my arms, couldn't. So that would be a test of your faith, wouldn't it? And 7 to 8 months of Nazi affiliated physical therapists. And I'm not kidding. And yeah, that would challenge you, right? So no, he's been very good to me. And what my example of my life has been in getting that way is an example to others. At that, I will leave you, and I want you guys to have a very blessed weekend. And please read John. Your homework would be John 31, 32, and maybe even John 8:53. Okay, that'll teach you guys something. Anyway, God bless. Take Jesus into your heart. Remember, he sacrificed himself for your sins, paid your sin debt in full on the cross, and he is your way to our Father in heaven. Anyway, God bless.